Hi folks, this is a video where I want to show you three different techniques of adding shapes to Tinkercad that I found out about today. It didn't take me too long to find out about them. The internet is a great thing for just finding out information, so I'm going to just get straight into it. The first and easiest way is to import a SVG file. That's a type of file that Tinkercad understands. You can't just put in a JPEG or a PNG file, but you can convert them. To do so, I've already found a file, and I strongly suggest that you find a very simple file, like a black and white file, clip art, etc., etc. And I looked for a way of converting that to a SVG file. I couldn't find one on the dashboard, so I scrolled down. This is Online Convert. I've used this a few times. Obviously, you need to check with the owner of the PC, check against your antivirus software, make sure that it's a safe website that you're using every time. It says that this can actually support a JPEG to SVG conversion, because I couldn't find it so easily on the dashboard. So it's going to ask me to choose files. You're not going to be able to see this because I have disabled the OBS Studio view of my desktop. So I'm just actually looking for the file on my desktop. I've put it in a really easy place to find. You'll now see that I've added the base JPEG. It's just a bass guitar clip art. Going to start the conversion. Now it's going to be doing this kind of clocking out thing at the top. Don't worry about that. Just as soon as you get the chance to download it, you can download it to your computer. It will kind of appear as a browser file of some kind. And I'm going to now close this. This is everything I needed from that program, and I'm going to import. Once again, I'm going to choose this file. I'm going to go to my downloads. I'm going to go to date modified, and I'm going to find that file. I'm going to open it. Now you can see it's now a base SVG file. Okay, I'm going to import this. I'm going to scale it down because 100 is always too big for my work plane, so I'm going to scale it down 50%. Okay, I'm going to import it. Here we go. Oh, that's actually perfect. Okay, so if I look at this, I can actually look at, I should be able to look at here a couple of the different values. I'm quite happy with those. I might make it just a little bit thinner. Let's make it to 8. And what I'm going to do is I'm just now going to create a base for this, because I know some students have been creating phone stands. So this is kind of what this is going to be. So I'm going to make this 10 height. I want to make it a width of 60. Make the length of it 80. I'm happy with that. Okay, how are we going to get these two together? So that's the next bit. So I'm going to take this. I want this sort of long bit here to be the bit where the phone is leaning against. So I'm going to have to rotate this a few times. Luckily, this program is super easy to rotate things with. So I'm going to click on this. What I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to rotate this by clicking on the degrees there and go 90. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to rotate this whole thing. I can either go there, or I should be able to rotate it by actually kind of playing around with this. Okay, I'm going to actually use the degrees. I'll go 45. Okay, that's all right. Okay, the only problem is it's sort of sunk down below the work plane. Actually, I think I might just push that another 15 degrees. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm a bit happier with that. I think that's a bit better. Right, so clicking on this shape one last time, I'm going to just use this cone shape. And I'm going to just actually bring it up, and you'll see that this figure down at the base of this happens. This is like how much it's going up, but this is actually at the moment it's like -4 below the work plane, so it's -4 degrees below the work plane. So I'm going to click on that cone again, and I'm going to bring this up to 10, and that is actually should be the lowest part of that, just meets perfectly with my base. So now I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to use that very handy align tool to center everything. and to center it that way. Okay, now this looks fine, but what I'm thinking is that I need to just shove this back a bit, so I'm not going to I'm not going to actually move the bass guitar anymore. I'm going to just move this forward. Okay, so this is that way. You could actually, if you wanted to move it the other way, you could let's see, if you have it this way, you can rotate the shape again. So let's move it that way. I'm going to do that freehand now. Yeah, so you can have it that way as well. I'm going to just bring it up again to 10, and you can move this forward if you want. So there's plenty of ways to do this. You can kind of just play around with it until you're happy with it. I'm happy with that. Okay, so that's the first technique. It's the first and easiest technique. The next thing I'm going to show you is the Scribble, which is really brilliant. As soon as you pull the Scribble in there from your basic shapes, you go into this editor mode. And I'm just going to draw a B for bass. And you get this preview up here straight away to show you what it looks like. That's nice, but I think it could be a bit more interesting. So I'm going to use this draw shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out a line. And what happens is, as soon as that line's drawn out, it kind of comes out with this really squiggly shape. And you can end up actually drawing by mistake over your other shape. So I'm going to actually just use the rubber option, and I'm going to get that back in there. And I'm just holding the mouse button down, yeah? You can also use sort of a shape selection tool as well to get rid of some of the shapes if you're not happy with them. Okay, I'm just going to draw this in a little bit more. I'm going to just improve that line a little bit to get my double line spacing line there. Lovely. Let me just make that a little bit smoother. Just make that a little smoother. It's a bit hard to draw with the mouse, but you get used to it. If you've got a tablet with a pen, it's pretty cool. You can use that. And let's just do that. And I'm going to just rub these out. I want to get rid of all of those shapes if I can, because there we go. Alright, I'm happy enough with that. I'm done, and suddenly it's appeared on my workspace. Okay, how can I combine this? Let me just think. Let's move it over. Let's have a look. Okay, right, so if I maybe just take this and I zoom in a bit with it, and let's see if we can kind of, yeah, let's rotate it this way, 90, and let's turn it around 90. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, we can. Make that 90, and let's raise it up 10, and let's see if we can just push that in. There we go. So you could kind of, you don't have to do text, you could just do something, whatever you want. That's kind of nice. It just sort of seems to be kind of just popping out there a bit. There we go. Just you can play around with it. The main thing is to play around with it as much as you can, and just enjoy yourself, really. Because it's just actually such an easy thing to use. Okay, the last thing I want to show you, whoop, sorry, zoomed out a bit fast there, is something called Extrusion, and this is under the shape generator, and this, for example, is Extrusion. So I'm going to draw this shape in, and I'm going to pop up the menu, and you see you've got this is the actual shape itself. You've got all of these drag handles to create bezier curves. So I'm just going to show you, this is really great because it shows you the preview, but it shows it actually live on the work plane, and you can make some really interesting shapes by playing around with those drag handles. And I'm sure that you can kind of have a bit more of a play around with that and see what you can do. But I'm just going to put in just a sort of a random sort of abstract shape here. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to go back in there and I can actually make that, you know, I can edit that a little bit. Let's just see, I'll make that a little bit bigger this way, that way. So maybe this now can become somehow a part of the stand. Like maybe a bit at the end where the phone might be pushed up against to kind of keep it in place. If you were to lean a phone between this bass guitar shape and this here, and that kind of makes it look a little bit more organic at the end, or a bit more stylish. So there you go. Those are 3 different techniques of adding shapes to Tinkercad, and also combining shapes together. Oh, just draw that down. You can just have a play around with that. I'm going to bring that. What I might do is just bring this back down to 0, and then extrude it up. So zoom in on that. There we go. Yeah. So it kind of gives the whole kind of tail end of this block an interesting kind of shape. Let's just maneuver that into the right place. You can actually just center everything. I'm just going to try. You could just select things again, those 2 things again, and you could align them by doing that. And then the other thing is going to come out of alignment. So yeah, just have a play around with it, see where it takes you, and I hope that that's been helpful for you. Okay, thanks for watching, and sort of like see you next time.